All right, welcome to the final segment of the Sports Page, and we've brought in a guest, Acee Heilbrunn.
Not really a guest. I also host the show, but it's good to be here on the Sports Page with you guys. I've been busy doing a few interviews here and around the Combine, so I haven't been able to do quite as many blocks as I usually do with you, Kevin.
Right, that's what I was going to say. You've been really busy. That's all I meant. Okay. Hey, I did want to talk about that interview you did. Great interview with Tom Telesco. Now, when I say great, there was really good questions and there were some answers, but what did you take away from it?
I took away that they are privately, meaning they, John Spanos, Mike McCoy, Tom Telesco, Ed McGuire, they are privately figuring out which players they will be keeping on that roster, Kevin.
Right. A lot of talking, as Michael and I talked about this in the A block when you were busy doing your work, your like really important work. That there's a lot of talking, but not a lot of insight, and that, hey, look, I'm not ripping them for that. Just, it is what it is, right?
Yeah, they have a lot of big decisions to make. They don't want to make the wrong decisions. They don't know this team like someone who's been covering them or coaching them for the last 5 years, and they know they're going to face a lot of scrutiny between the previous regime and what they're going to do now. So I think they're just trying to make the best decision.
Wait! I want to interrupt you there. They don't want to talk about the past, and they don't know the team as well, yet they want to change the culture, Michael.
Interesting, isn't it? They've been very consistent. Mike McCoy, even when he first got here, when he won that press conference, he talked about changing the way they travel and the way they practice, and that's about as specific that he's gotten in terms of the culture change that needs to happen. He says that there needs to be a consistent winning program over the next decade, and the problem is there's 31 other teams that want to establish that type of culture, and it's kind of rare, but there's a lot of stuff that goes into that. And what exactly that looks like in terms of changing the culture or what was wrong with the culture that was here, it's kind of been unspecified right now.
Okay, but here's Mike McCoy on that.
Tom Telesco and I are going to do everything we possibly can to build a winner over the long haul. Not just tomorrow, but from years to come. And so we're going to change the culture a little bit around there, and that's what happens when you have a new staff come in the building. So we're going to make some changes over time, and but we're going to do everything we can to help this team win in the next 10 years. The way we're going to do things, we all have different personalities in this business. Every coach is different, but we're going to go in there and from the first team meeting we have April 1st, we're going to tell them the way we want to do things. And really, it's just going to be the way we're going to do it. And it's not taking anything away from the previous coaching staffs that have been there, but there's some things that Tom and I have a very strong opinion about what we want to change, and we're going to let our players know about that coming forward. We're going to do whatever we can to do it the way we want to do it. As an organization, Dean Spanos, Tom, and myself have sat down and talked a lot about what we want to do, the changes we're going to make around the facility, how we're going to do things different, whether it's traveling on the road, the way we're going to do things at the hotel differently. And there's going to be some changes, but we're going to try to build a winner like we've said for a long time here, and there's personality changes are going to happen. Obviously new leadership in the building, and there's ways we're going to do things and do whatever we can to win football games.
Let's move on to the next topic that Mike McCoy was asked about. And of course, nationally, and that's what we're talking about this press conference in front of the national media yesterday, people want to know what the former Broncos offensive coordinator is going to do to fix Philip Rivers.
I mean, the thing is what we were told and what we've deduced about this, it's not exactly Philip, or not all the time. It's the people around Philip, and that's their take on it right now.
Even though they are not talking about what the old regime said, that's what the old regime said as well.
It sure did. I mean, it's
very good.
And you look at it the last offseason, free agency period, it was bringing in Jared Gaither, bringing in Robert Meacham and Eddie Royal. These are guys who didn't produce last season, and so now they kind of find themselves in a similar situation of finding the pieces around Philip Rivers to make this offense work.
And they are big. They are big on making the offense fit the players. So their whole mantra is, we are going to take what the players do best, maybe what they couldn't get out of, I guess, Robert Meacham last year. They couldn't get out of Eddie Royal or whatnot, and we're going to work the offense around them. Easier said than done, I think.
I will say that is something that they have said that they're going to do. That was important to John Spanos, when they made these hires, and as they built the coaching staff, and it is perhaps what a weakness of the old coaching staff was. Anyway, here's Mike McCoy on Philip Rivers.
He's got a burning desire to win, and that's what all the great ones do. In my mind is, he wants to do everything possible, to change this thing and get it rolling again. And, I'm really looking forward to him when we get the offseason program started, get him in the building on a day-to-day basis to really teach him what we're going to do moving forward, and, how we're going to help him, and just really get him going again. Well, I think the big thing everyone wants to talk about is the turnovers. That's the number one thing we got to cut back on. But then again, you got to look at the whole entire package of plays. Why were certain interceptions thrown? Why did he make certain decisions? Can the protection be better? Can the routes be run better? It's going to be 11 guys every play we're going to evaluate. It's not just the quarterback, but a lot of falls back on his shoulders. But that's something we've already talked about. That's the number one thing we got to do is cut down on the turnovers because he's a very talented player and he's got a lot of talent around him.
Speaking of that, the running game will help. Another big topic happens to be offense, happens to have a little bit to do also with the state of the offensive line, and that would be Ryan Mathews.
He's a very talented back. And talking to Ollie Wilson, spent a lot of time with him the past couple of weeks, what we want to do with him. He's a talented guy, and it's a number of touches, and we got to do a better job up front and as an entire, football team helping him out. Getting him involved in the passing game because he's a talented player, can do a lot of different things.
They believe, as you said, very adamantly, it's almost as they planned to come out and say this in unison, that Ryan Mathews, they know, is a talented back. Yes, he's had injuries, but they believe that he can be, that bell cow, a guy who can, handle the kind of touches that'll make him consistent, get him on the field maybe more on third down. He only has 7 third down catches in his entire career. Get him on the field a little more in that type of situation. So it's again giving him help, though, much like it was with Phillip Rivers, add a complement back so he doesn't have to do it by himself. And you have Jackie Battle, you have Ronnie Brown. These guys are free agents, guys who are a big part of that backfield. They're gone, and now they have to find who that next face is behind Ryan Mathews to mix it up with him.
Tom Telesco kind of argued with me there on the third down, where I was pointing out that I didn't think his pass protection and his route running, and he said that he saw something different in that.
Yeah, he said that that he can be a very good player. He needs to be on the field more. He needs to be put in these situations more. He needs to get more experience, and then this guy's going to take off. Don't matter, because we also all brought up the fumbles. We brought up the not having any breakaway runs, but he believes that he's going to get that.
Going into his 4th season, time to do it, Ryan Mathews. All right, we will see you next week, and Monday's show will be jam-packed from Combine stuff.